Hi, I'm Sasha Johnson. I'm from Leeds Policy Institute. I'm the head of research, and we're a student-based think tank in Leeds.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm from the Student Network for Open Science, also a think tank working on improving the scientific culture from a student's perspective.
Hi, I'm Miguel Toscano. I come from the European Student Think Tank, where I'm the Vice President for events, and we're a European network made of different students and young professionals.
What motivated your think tank to participate this year in the Building for the Future initiative?
I think one of the main aspects of why we joined the initiative is to kind of bring a stage for our UK domestic issues and get a range of perspectives from countries around Europe and outside of Europe. I think it would really bring value into our discussions on policy.
I think for us it was mainly to get some new directions, kind of, because as students you're always very motivated to work on the think tank topics, but you not necessarily know how to do it or what to do, and it was very nice learning here.
Yeah, so I would say that from our perspective, looking at the possibilities of joining this initiative, we saw it as a very unique opportunity to learn more about how we should improve our think tank and the capabilities that we could have by engaging with all kinds of people present here at this initiative.
And now, before participating in the experience, and I imagine it continues to be, what is the biggest challenge that your think tanks are facing?
Well, I think for a student think tank like ours, a lot of the positions are unpaid and voluntary. So I think one of the challenges is balancing the incentives of the student while also working on essays and exams, making sure they're incentivized to finish the research and sort of be motivated. And at the end of term, when the policy papers are done, is kind of challenges when people go off to summer and do their internships. The papers kind of stay as they are. We don't really go further with them. So I think that's one thing. I think the school will help to improve sort of the after that after they're published.
I would very much agree with this being one of the problems. Also, that positions are just so volatile, and you have to continuously educate new students coming to the think tank. So this really helps giving this a little bit more structure, and then also creating a real impact, or how you want to balance just educating other students and learning together with them how to work in a think tank, but at the same time also having an output that actually makes the difference.
Yeah, I do resonate a lot with what you guys said, and these are discussions that we had during the week, whether it being the funding issue or educating our fellow peers at the think tank. And I would add up that as we are either students or some of us are young professionals, we're still very scratching the surface on not only the potential of our think tank, but our potential as individuals. So I believe that all the program, especially of the School for Think Tankers, was very helpful to understand, where we are, what are our capabilities, and what we can do with it to optimize our different institutions.
And having this experience of exchanging with other think tankers in different regions and also from different backgrounds and even experiences, how was that experience like for you?
It was really, really useful because at university there's a wide range of students from different backgrounds and disciplines. We have a lot of students from international relations, economics, history, social sciences, and I think this experience helps, facilitate more of an open-minded environment. Just now we've had a discussion about the ethics with using AI for genetic enhancements and modifications, and we all felt like we were in quite a safe environment to share our thoughts and opinions, even though it might be different in morals. It's really good to have that experience. I think being a university is even more important.
Yeah, I also think it's just very interesting to get so many insights from people from different regions all over the world who you not that often get to talk to. And yeah, also, like you said, from other professions with other backgrounds, our think tank is mainly made up of people from natural sciences or medicine. So being here with people with a lot of experience in politics and in international affairs and so forth is very helpful to just broaden the perspective, kind of.
Yeah, again, not to repeat myself, but I agree with what you guys just said. But it's very interesting, to have people from different backgrounds, different from different parts of the world, and I believe that is also mind-opening for the multi-regional events that we'll be organizing in the future. And it's also very nice to see, some of them are already established professionals, some of them are still in the start of their careers, but all of them are very upfront with, supporting our initiatives and, really valuing us as students or young professionals, trying to step foot in the world of think tanks and trying to make a difference right at the start of our careers. So I think that's also a very valuable experience from this school, knowing how the older generation values this.
This is a new question, but I will give you some time to think about it. If you would have to describe the experience during the school in one word, which one would you choose?
I'd say opportunity. I've spoken to a lot of different experts in different fields. One from an economic application institute in Brazil, and I just recently had a look at some of the papers they're publishing on environmental deforestation, and it's really interesting. And it really aligns with sort of my background in economics, but I hadn't considered looking into that field. So I see it as a good opportunity to connect. I also spoke to two from the Danube Institute in Hungary, and they just somehow needed a web designer and a report publisher, designer, and I managed to connect them with my friends. So I think it's been a really good place for opportunities.
I would say for me the word would be insightful, maybe. Just because of learning so many things that, of course, some things you already know, okay, maybe we're not that good at and we need some help, but it's also, it kind of works then collecting the information yourself, but I feel like here during the school there were a lot of things that we learned where we weren't even aware of those other questions we should ask ourselves, so this was also very helpful.
And I think for my word, maybe I would pick enlightening, because I think that's right from the start where we had this discussion, what is actually a think tank? Yeah, which was very funny, and we still keep going back to it. Like the whole program, engaging with people from different backgrounds, from different areas. As in our case, we're very much IR and European studies focused. It's nice to engage with people, more from social sciences, chemistry, and so on. And so it really opens your horizons to the possibilities and the limitations also that your organization has, and especially how you can go further beyond the future.
I've just something to add to that. I think I agree with that. I think because we're from student think tanks coming into this, we don't have that much experience with funding and things like that. So I think learning about this sort of thing is not only good for like our individual journeys if we do end up working in think tanks, but also how can we better our student think tank to maybe progressing into a more established one in the future.
We can also impact, our organizations and the communities that we represent.
Yeah. And final question, what's your expectation with the program? I know we are starting the first activity, and what are your expectations? How do you see your think tank in a year, probably after the program?
It's a good question.
Would one of you want to
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I can start, that's fine. So I would say a key takeaway from here for me would be that we definitely have to invest more time into strategic thinking and strategic planning. So I would hope that 1 year from now, all of the other students also working within our think tank are better educated on all the topics we've learned on, because we can just carry on this knowledge. But also we have a better plan on how we actually want to create an impact and how we can do this. And one additional thing I want to say, also looking forward to the multi-regional events you have already mentioned, is, for example, I've met one colleague here from Kenya, and she's doing a lot of work in empowering women in science all over Africa. And we anyways planned to do a diversity in science workshop. So yeah, it was just a perfect opportunity to get to know somebody new, and inviting her, and she was very happy to come to this event. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, so talking about the future, I guess we'll be very busy, to be frank, because now we have a lot of information to digest, a lot of information to share with our members at the European Student Think Tank. I guess we'll also have the opportunity to connect with other people, and not just you guys, which I would really like to work with in the future, but also with all the other colleagues here. But in the end, I think we'll improve a lot. We'll take in all this knowledge that we learn, apply it to our reality, and come up with, let's say, upgrades to our think tank, which will be, I'm certain, very valuable and insightful.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the future of our think tank, I think in the past year or so, I'd say the internal operations of our think tank have improved a lot in terms of standardizing research processes, making more of an emphasis on quantitative analysis in our papers, and very much empowering the students and making the just the working environment more like equal and fun. But I think one thing that I think we can improve on is the communications aspect, and I think we touched on that in the Chatham House talk with David, how research is 50% of the job, but communication, actually distributing your research to a great stage, is the other 50%. And I think what I said previously about after all the students leave for the summer, those papers are kind of, frozen almost. I think what's the next step after that? I think in a year's time, I would love to see those papers going further place. And I think definitely maybe partnerships and working on more of a global stage in Europe could be interesting. And I think another thing we'd like to do is expanding our fellowship program, for alumni members for our think tank. I think we've started to incorporate that sort of program, but I'd love to still be a part of Leeds Post Institute even after I graduate. And I think building off your model of where you can still engage with the think tank, even though you're not a student at the moment, I think we'd like to do the same.